My name is SHUHAIDA binti SHAFIE, metric number 277321. I would like to deliver my moral judgment on bank scam issue. I strongly object this issue because bank scam is a very sensitive issue among citizens, especially in this era. People work hard for getting to survive in this era, but immoral people easily doing some scam just to get money. Such scams often happen to individuals who lack technology knowledge, for example the elderly. This is truly sad if they only depend on their saving and suddenly people steal them. On behalf of the bank, they should think of the right action to combat this crime from continuing. If this continue, the country's economy will also be affected. Any activity involving third parties should be strictly controlled, especially if involve user data. Due to this, it is shown the value of ethics must be applied to common moral issues brought on by using banking service. Banks bear primary responsibility for the security of the ICT system and service they offer to bank customers. The ability of a bank to adapt to secure and regulated environment is fundamental. The moral decision that I made is based on correct information that I got from my review on article Ethics and Fraud in Banking Service that focused in advocating the relevance of ethics and fraud on banking service to answer to citizens, firms, and society needs. It also states on behalf of users themselves that citizens must be awareness and avoidance of different techniques of potential online fraud attempts, including the advice of not trust any online resource simply because it holds the bank's identity.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is NADIRA binti TARMIZI with the metric number 278735. Alright, today I will present about my moral judgment about the topic of bank scam, which is a phishing scam of this assignment. Alright, for my opinion, I strongly object or disagree to this issue because phishing scams are very dangerous to the public, especially workers and active social media users. Alright, many people do not care about this issue or problem as long as they have never been a victim. However, it is not possible that we as a moral society are willing to see people around us becoming victims of this phishing scam or this issue. And however, this issue of phishing scam by consumers continues to worry the public as it has caused many people in our country by taking their money using cunning fraudulent methods. But we can see that after many have become victims of this phishing scam, people have changed their attitude by becoming more concerned, more responsible about this issue. The attitude of social media users has especially become more tolerant and concerned of this issue, phishing scams, especially related to finances in recent years. Besides, in the perception of moral values studied in this issue, we found that the assistance indifference in the individual himself or herself after discovering the occurrence of such an issue. Alright, furthermore, my opinion is therefore the moral value that needs to be applied is the high value of a responsibility in oneself or in ourselves. The community must be responsible for every problem or issue that plagues the country, especially the local community. We need to have immediate action in combating this issue and overcoming this issue so that it does not spread in many areas again. We have also found ethical bias results involving formalism and utilitarianism. As we learn the theory of ethics, which is utilitarianism. This refers to a theory that determines what is right from what is wrong by focusing on the results. In addition, the theory of formalism brings more meaning to the moral punishment associated with the law than the content of the theory itself. Besides, our information is true and accurate where this source or this information is a research based on cases that have happened victims of fraud, the study of information in the media and secondary sources as well as primary sources. We also study these issues or problems that occur by using moral principles such as autonomy and justice, where justice respects the rights of others and is fair. For example, we need to be fair in giving actions and solutions for problems faced by the community, no matter what the problem is. The principle of altruism, where we are selfless and take care of the welfare and safety of others, also to ensure that the environment is always safe and do not search issues that can make themselves victims of this issue of phishing scam. So that's all from me. Thank you and have a nice day.
A very good day, Doctor. My name is SAFA NORHALILA HANANI BINTI ABDUL HALIM with metric number 281045, and I will present on my moral judgment on the issue that we have used, which is bank scam. First of all, I would like to appoint my stand that I strongly oppose the act of bank scam that is happening more and more frequently in the banking industry. Banking policy is unfair if it could not protect their customer from scam risks. As we know, bank scam cause harm and injustice to all of its victims. It is because in this modern era, it is difficult for the public to identify the credibility of an institution that contact them to obtain their personal information. Due to that, victims who are innocent and are not involved in any act of negligence should be compensated if the scam arises from the lapse of cybersecurity, internal control, and safeguard of the bank. As reported by the Federal Trade Commission (FTC), consumer in the United States of America has lost more than $5.8 billion to bank scam last year. It is an increase by 70% from $3.4 billion in 2020. This number came from the bank scam reports reported by more than 2.8 billion people. Besides that, FitZai, a platform of managing financial risks, revealed that according to an analysis by more than 12 billion global banking transactions from January to March, total bank scam attack through internet, phone and branch has increased by 159% in Q1 of 2021 compared to Q4 of 2020. In Malaysia itself, as reported by Bank Negara Malaysia Governor Tan Sri Nur Syamsiah Muhammad Yunusin, Malaysians suffered 2.23 billion losses in cybercrime as customers switching to online banking for their activities. According to the social cost view of manufacturer duties to customer, manufacturers should exercise due diligence in their business activity and bear the cost of damage even though the damage was unforeseen. Cost of damage is an external cost that need to be internalized and the cost of bringing the product into the market and share them more fairly. However, this view met with opposition considering that it does not go beyond the manufacturer side even though they have implemented all the due care practice. Therefore, to implement the view and the opposition view into the real event in the banking industry, only innocent victims need to be compensated while the others are not. My moral judgment is based on the latest statistic released in 2021 by the relevant agencies such as FTC, FitZai and Bank Negara Malaysia. It is also based and in line with the strong and defensible moral principle since it has been implemented in the international banking industry. Some banks in the foreign countries such as Bank of America, Barclays, Sterling Banks and others has already compensated their customers who became victims of bank scam. Therefore, Malaysian bank also need to give goodwill payment to the blameless customer who fall into victims to bank scam. Last but not least, bank scam issue will only be fair if the blameless customer can get compensation from their respective bank. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Hi and good evening to Doctor. First, let me introduce myself. My name is NORSAZWANI binti ABDUL and metric number is 281072. I will present regard of the topic that have been chosen is it should Malaysian bank give goodwill payments as compensation to blameless customer who fall victim to bank scams. From my opinion, I clearly support for banks in Malaysia to give goodwill payment as compensation to blameless customer who fall victim to bank scam. The reason I support is based on my moral decision on this issue is because the bank has failed to provide a safe bank security system for its customer and caused the bank system to be easily accessed and hacked by unauthorized people and caused a lot of money loss to its customer. The bank should have good ethical principle by being responsible by providing compensation or paying a sum of money back to victim who has suffered losses because of phishing scam. For example, in response to the current wave of SMS phishing scam, OCBC Bank said on Monday, January 17, 2022 that he has begun issuing goodwill payments to clients who have experienced a loss of cash in their bank's account. OCBC Bank officials claim they have been making such payments since January 8 and more than 30 customers have already been credited. This showing that OCBC Bank has very good moral responsibility of ethical values to be responsible and provide compensation to consumers who suffer loss. Ethics in business is very important for the company and also their customers. This is because when working with customers, it's important to always act ethically since it boosts service quality and create lasting connection. In business, it is important to be able to tell right and wrong and to always act morally, even if the wrong choice would result in more money in the near term. It also keeps individuals from acting in inappropriate ways. The principle of ethics offers people a set of instructions they might follow to steer clear of committing mistakes even when they believe they are doing morally. Other than that, every business must justice and be fair to their customer. If the bank does not want to be responsible and pay compensation to their customers, that means that banks do not have moral responsibility toward their customers because they are fault for not having extra security into their system. It is mandatory for all licensed banks to implement stringent safety measures, notably for financial service offered over the internet and mobile devices. This involves the BPMN conducting routine security evaluation and issuing warnings to financial institutions in order to improve the controls that are already in place, provide appropriate protection against the most recent threats, and maintain efficient service for clients. In a nutshell, Malaysian banks do not pay compensation to their customer is lacking of moral responsibilities. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Nazifa and ROSLAN and my metric number is 281080. So today I would like to share about my moral judgment regarding the bank scam. In my opinion, I strongly disagree with bank scam to happen all around the world, including in Malaysia. Regarding the problem whether the victim should be compensated or not, I believe that a blameless victim should be compensated. However, it couldn't be 100% of refund. This is because when bank have to take responsibility for the large amount of phishing scam, the bank may have lost and bankruptcy could happen. According to the Edge Market website, Malaysia observed the significant spike during the COVID-19 from 2020 to 2022. The PDRM Commission Crime Investigation Department recorded there have a lot of total that increased years by years. For example, in May 2022, there were 3,833 cases that were reported. So based on the statistic given and the statement above, we can see this bank's culture is difficult to stop totally, but I believe this culture can be reduced, but it took a long time. For instance, Dato' Azman Muhammad Yusof, who is Secretary General of KBD and HEP, has launched an awareness campaign which is to educate the public about how to recognize, verify, and report extremely deceptive practices used by the scammer. The campaign is named Tak Nak Scam that has launched on July 2021. As a result, there was a decreased trend in the number of reported fraud incidents over the campaign time. We can see that even though there is a lot of awareness made through social media, newspaper, and everywhere, these things still occur. Therefore, I believe the fair compensation to victims should be depend whether that this happened because of negligence of someone or because the internal bank failure of the another parties. The situation can use the theory of justice as fairness that means equal should be treated equally and unequal unequally. For example, this situation can be two, where if a phishing scam happens because of the internal bank failure, such as the victim does not click any link or receiving any message but the money in the bank has lost, then the victim should be claim their refunds to the bank parties. But if the phishing scam happen because the negligence of someone, because they click any links that's supposed to be ignored, it may be complicated to solve this problem. And this situation shows that both parties will get fair and equal treatment, where the banks will only compensate the victim that deserve the compensation, while the victim will be happy to receive the compensation from. My moral judgment is based on the Royal Malaysia Police Commercial Crime and also from the latest news in 2022. Hence, I believe my moral judgment is up to date regarding the issue of bank scam. As a conclusion, only blameless victims should be compensated. To ensure that the thing is not repeated again, teams should increase the awareness and gain a knowledge about the technologies nowadays, while a bank party should tighten their security and maintainly expose their customers to the risk of the bank scam that happen in the world by widespread and effectively. Thank you.
Good evening to Doctor and my fellow friends. My name is AINIZA binti JASMI. My matric number is 2819 and 15. Now I will present my part in moral judgment. In my opinion, banks should give a compensation and guarantee to victims who were persecuted by bank scam. It is clear that the criminal issue of bank fraud should not increase again because it has troubled many parties, whether it is from a victim or the bank or other authorities. Most of the victims told of situation they faced where money from their own account was transferred without their knowledge. The matter happened after the victim visited the website to fill in their personal data information to log in before they are starting to download the application that was instructed. The victim said again they thought that the website would take them to shopping or a game session, but the opposite happened. There are reports of a responsible bank selling customer data information to third parties. This in violation of the Personal Data Protection Act 2010 that has been set. This matter greatly aroused the public anger because the immoral of action from the certain bank that cause harm to others. Therefore, this matter to some extent has shown that indeed the bank should give goodwill compensation to victims of fraud. This is to help them defend the fate of those who have been wronged. Based on Fahmi Fazil, the representative from the PKR, Information Chief made a proposal to provide a rehabilitation fund compensation mechanism for those involved. Fahmi said the funds released are to preserve the fate of people who have difficulty in getting compensation from the bank. For example, The guaranteeing and providing compensation to saving accounts affected by scam bank is under the Malaysian Deposit Insurance Corporation (PIDM). Finally, all parties play an important role in the issue of the bank scam. It is not enough to just advise and give closure to the public, but the bank does not maintain the confidentiality of the customer's privacy, nor the customer's attitude that it's easy to share their personal information to their close contact. Hopefully with this, the public will be more aware of online fraud, which is still a hot topic in the global, so that the security of each account is protected from evil cyber crimes. In addition to improving the bank security system, which is more organized and strict.